and other things have changed the colors of the Sistine Chapel. I mean, are we messing with something, or are we allowing what is already there that's now hidden by all of this time to be removed, and now we get to see the original art again? And it's probably an endless debate, but the goal is really that unveiling, that unmasking, and to make it more vibrant and true to what the music really was supposed to be about. But the technology of the day actually occluded that, and it didn't allow that experience to really happen. And I think we're really achieving that. And it's not to say that somebody 20 years from now is going to say the same thing about this time period. Maybe we all learn and continue to learn more and more about this. But that's really the intent, is to bring the art to its best possible light.
Yeah. Well, that's very good explanation. We live in in the last few years we've been living in very difficult economic condition. Now with high inflation. How you guys are able to, from a financial standpoint, to turn a profit, year after year? You've been in business for, 36 years, right? And then, although you mentioned that the main concern is the quality, we need to believe in what we do. We want to produce the best product, and it's going to eventually sell and kind of recover that investment back, whatever that amount was invested. But how are you guys able to manage? Many record labels went out of business, and now with many companies went out of business, because during the economic downturn they couldn't sell, they couldn't turn the machine on, or whatever the process behind creating a vinyl, right? Or how you manage that?
Well, we do pay very careful attention to what our expenditures are, obviously. And most of we have a very different model, I think, from most other record companies. The money that we get, it goes very few places. It goes to the artists for the sales, number one, because that's where the music comes from. And as artists, we understand that. So we want the artist to make a living, if whatever they can from it. Our expenses, we really, over the years, have honed down quite a bit. And obviously, we have manufacturing expenses. Okay, but we do, like Howard does the mastering, and we have one other team member that will do mastering, and he'll work with him on it, on some of the releases. We have Daniel, our wonderful art director, who is really passionate about what he's doing. So what we've done is any monies that come in, literally, we pay the artists, we pay for our website. I mean, we're talking very basic expenses here. We pay for the manufacturing costs, the printing costs. We pay for the equipment that our team members have to use. There's 7 of us that do all of this. So if they have a computer and it dies, we will get them a computer so they can continue to do their work. Very basic stuff. Any advertising that we do, the website fees and the hosting fees for our website and for our Bandcamp, label page, those are the expenses. For many, many years, we didn't make any money. We didn't pay us any money. We just were putting out the art, and we still continue to do that. We don't pocket the money. We give it back to the artists who are doing the music, and we make sure that we can pay our operating expenses, which in the digital age, or if a piece of equipment needs to be, put into the studio. Technology has allowed us to live in different places and still do this. I have a studio at home. Our mastering facility, our main one, is in Portland. with that. And then the other mastering engineer, Ben, is on the East Coast, and he has his mastering studio in his home. So we were able to split and do some of those things, which also helped us keep costs down so that the majority of the money can go back to the artists. So, and then we do all the paperwork and bookwork, all the things that are required. We all do it ourselves because we don't hire big firms or companies. We don't get other people we do it ourselves. So that keeps it well within what we're doing. And I think that's what's allowed us to survive over these many years. There was many times where I've seen record labels go out of business because they couldn't keep up, paying their expenses. Very sad, but we just kept our nose to the grindstone. We're Peccaries. We kind of just wander around and do what we do. So those are really the basics of it,
I think it's really still about the passion, though. I mean, ultimately, when you're passionate about something,
do it.
That's the thing that gives everything that you do the authenticity,
right?
That people, the listeners, and the artists can all connect to. So, and I think we see that all the time. I mean, really, the problems that the public might have when they're looking at what Elon Musk is doing, or what the government's doing, or everyone's really saying the same thing in the sense that they're looking for some authenticity. They want to connect to that. They want to believe that the people believe at a higher level than the money part of it, or that they're being sold something. I think that's ultimately what's at the heart of all of this. And I'm not saying that others haven't been doing that. I believe that people that are successful really believe in what they're doing. I believe that people that have achieved amazing things in our history, in the human history, have been there because somewhere along the line, somebody just believed in something. They just wanted to take it to that next level. They sort of sensed that there was something more to this world than what it appears to be. Right. And that, to me, is still the driving force. If I believe that is what has given the label the strength to continue to move forward, to not be pulled down by maybe the hardships of one thing or another. It's about just saying thank you and more thank you, and then keep moving forward and move faster and more, and grow more and continue to develop. Because if we ask those questions of ourselves, no matter what condition the world is in or whatever is going on with ourselves, I think we can find ways to rise up. There's always something for us to do to better ourselves, right? And so it's the same principle for the label. The label isn't a thing. A label is just a consortium of artists. It's just it's a group of people working together for common good, and to share that music with the world in any possible way we can, that it might actually add some light to those people's lives. And with that, don't we, raise up the whole energy of everything? So I know it sounds a little, philosophical there for a moment, but the truth is that it's really the passion that drives people. And that's always the thing we look for, that's the thing I think people are inspired by. And I think that's probably the single most important thing that this label and this group of artists have had going for themselves. And it's like everybody just believes in it.
Yeah, that's beautiful way to express yourself. I can see it in my own life. When I opened the first radio station, right, to listen to my own music, that was my goal. Everybody told me, well, not everybody, but other people, well, nobody will listen to your stuff. Yeah, it's true. You have a big collection of music at home. And then I will do it anyways. I don't care what everybody else think of that. I will try. Then somebody told me, well, what makes you feel people will get back to you? You have an accent, you are online radio station, no physical radio station. And then 2 years later, have done 200 views. I'm going to be talking to Rick Wakeman, Peter Gabriel, a couple of months. I have done interview a lot of very famous people. You guys, many people from your record label, and I'm still going. I pay for all the costs for the server. I own all the music that I play on the radio. I pay music right to 3 radio station. On the radios, I will never, ever, ever have an advertising. The radios are always going to be free. They're 24 hours a day. I'm broadcasting at better quality than Spotify. What do I do? What I do? Somebody asked me, so where's the catch? Somebody, pay for everything. You interview with people. There's no catch. I have a paying job as a computer scientist. I have several college degrees. I have done well in my life. And I do that as a legacy for the future. Hopefully the internet will be out there in the world and people will be able to listen to all these interviews in 10 years from now, 100 years from now. Music has given me so much satisfaction in my life that it's an honor for me, talking to you guys and talking to every musician that talk. Because that's the beauty of stuff. I do what I do because I like it. I'm able to have a good salary at a job, and
because you're passionate about it.
Exactly. I interview some musicians in Japan, right? I need to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife say, "Why are you doing that? Why you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? You need to go to work at 6." Yeah, but it's this guy. It's a band Kenzo that's very good. Then I was able to talk to Lisa Gerard for Dead Can Dance.
Oh yeah.
Our meeting was today's Monday. It was Thursday or Friday morning. I needed to call her at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the only time she had. No problem. Wake up at 4 o'clock. Very happy to do it. Of course I was sleepy. I drink a lot of coffee, but I do what I do because I like it, because I think it's needed in a way. Yeah, it's a little bit of ego behind it, be able to talk to all these famous people, if you will, but it's for somebody else that work and do it. It's for people that it's not for me. It's not for me.
So you mentioned something very important there. You brought up the word ego, and it's interesting because I think that there are people in this world that do what they do for themselves. I mean, it's very clear that they're really not doing it for anybody else.
Right.
They're only interested in their own self-interest, their self-gain. But you can really see that when those people are like that, and when they act like that, you can see the fruits of that kind of thinking, and it's very obvious. And it's not like one doesn't experience some sort of personal ego moments when something is very successful, or somebody says, "Oh, you're really great at what you do," and you're like, "Oh, thank you." I mean, it does rub off a little bit, but then you have to check yourself and you have to say, "Wait a minute, but I'm not doing that for me. Yeah. I'm really doing this for this much bigger thing," because really throughout all of history, the people that have inspired us are the people that are clearly about doing something so much greater than themselves.
Absolutely.
I mean, if we are not in this life for one another, what are we here for?
Absolutely.
because we can't keep this. This won't last forever.
Right.
So
yeah,
so
it's very important.
Yeah. It's very important that there's a little bit of ego that comes in and goes away. And some people say, "Oh, well, that person's egotistical," or there's this and that. But you have to check, sometimes it's just self-confidence, but when that person is pushing harder and harder and harder to get this music out, to deepen the experience, to share with people, to inspire people, and it's not about, "Oh, wait, how much money am I making from this?" And it's funny because we have had those conversations, and an artist all of a sudden gets their head turned around and they start looking at, "Oh, wow, I've had this success and I'm making this money from it. How can I make more music that will make more money?" And then just stop. Don't do this. If you go down that path, I guarantee you your music will suffer. because you're losing the vision. The vision needs to be about the thing that inspires you inside here. And it needs to be about constantly working towards deepening the conversation between what's inside of you to all the other, what's inside of all the other people.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. In the example that I just gave you, right, about the when I talk to Lisa Gerard at 4 o'clock in the morning, I need to call her in Australia. She doesn't give that many interviews, and I have a good strategy on the stuff that I do. And I got lucky, and I was able to talk to her for 28 minutes. Right? She did all the talking because she liked, I wasn't able to ask many questions. I uploaded the stuff to Facebook and YouTube, and 1,500 people have seen that 28-minute interview in 2 days. 1,500 people. So in a way, because she doesn't do interviews that much, people didn't know her and didn't know her voice besides the singing.
Right.
And I make 1,500 people happy.
Yeah.
And then, probably 100 people will listen tomorrow, and in a month from now will be, 5,000 or whatever the number comes to be. Yeah, it was the first one I did it, but it wasn't the reason. I did it for other people to benefit. If I make happy 1,500 people, I'm very, very happy,
Or even one person.
For example, right, I'm desperately trying to get a hold of Wendy Carlos. And I have talked to several people that worked with her in the past and this where she is. I'm unable. In a way, I want to talk to her because I want to honor her as a pioneer, so women doing the stuff. Nobody was doing the stuff before, and it bothers me that I need to respect her, but I would love to talk to her as an honor, as a tribute to her. I'm just a mechanism to do an interview. I'm nobody. I'm a guy with a Hispanic guy with an accent in Virginia who likes music. That's all. That's all. Well, that I came kind of, I don't know, middle class family. This country has been very good to me. I'm the American dream alive. I was a very bad student in Latin America. My parents were pretty much kicking me out of the house. 36 years later, I have 6 college degrees. I went to Harvard and a bunch of other big name schools. And I'm an average guy who tried to do the good thing in life and like music. That's the only difference. So if anybody can give, can get a hold of Wendy, that would be great. And because she's a pioneer, she's getting old. I think she's still alive, living in New York, but I don't know how to get a hold of her. I will do anything. If she asks me, okay, I want to interview at 3 o'clock in the morning, you need to go to a coffee shop in New York. Hey, I'm coming tomorrow. I tell my boss that I'm taking the day off tomorrow. So because I will.
It's that's a noble cause. Not because maybe she shouldn't, and maybe because she hasn't earned her right to her privacy, because certainly I'm certain that's the case. But I do think that if the conversation had nothing to do with her music, had nothing to do with the history, had nothing to do with the past, there's a good chance that something she would say about just being a human being might inspire another human being somewhere else in this world who is struggling or who needs that, to hear it in that way from her. And that would be the reason for asking, because sometimes I think we all kind of get caught up in the stardom, or, we need to know more about what she used or how she did it or whatever. And, I think after a certain point, the story kind of blurs, because everybody's really dipping into the well, and it's all the same well, the well of creativity, which flows for all people. But on the other hand, there are people who could look at her life and some of the things she had to confront. And you mentioned that she's a pioneer, and it's true. I mean, it's like there's a certain point where that person just inspires people,
Oh, yeah.
And I think that sometimes hearing that story is maybe more important than than the details of the story.
Yeah, I agree. You know, many women, Susan Chiani, for example, came, you know, if it wasn't for Wendy Carlos or whatever the people I have to be, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. I was a woman. Women was not supposed to go to college at the time, or, you know, need to stay at home. Forget about electronic music. That was for guys only. It's that's what you know, he was a he, and then she became a she. I don't care about sexual orientation or this or that, who I am to criticize somebody. I just want to capture the moment, capture how difficult it was for
Right.
her to put, you know, buy the first instrument and put the album together, put her life together. That would be great if, you know, somebody's listening out there that can put it in a way as an honor, a human being, you know. She did a lot of good work. And,
Yeah, she did. She has. Absolutely. And certainly some of my earliest clear understandings of electronic music. I mean, really sitting down and saying, hey, I'm going to listen to an album that is electronic, which I mentioned. I had a teacher in 5th grade, and this teacher, fifth, 6th grade, somewhere in there. And her album had come out, the switched on Bach, and so this teacher brought it in and played it for our class. And we were just kids, you know, and we were hearing other aspects of electronic music that were starting to filter into our reality, but it wasn't clear cut right in front of us. This is this album, and he puts this on, and I'm absolutely certain that that moment had a huge impact on me. And I'm not saying that later on, listening to Paul Horn, Inside, or Pauline Oliveros, or you know, Wendy Carlos, Sonic Seasonings, or ultimately Klaus Schulze's Time Wind, you know, all of these things were, you know, huge impacts. Or even off in a different direction, Steve Reich, Music for 18 Musicians, you know, all of these things were influences. They were ideas for inspiration, but Wendy Carlos, coupled with the Apollo missions, you know, going to the moon, the imagination that those people pioneered and left us all sitting here on Earth looking up at the moon and wondering what was this all about, and how are we doing this, and the possibilities of all of it. And I think all of that sort of manifested itself. It started to create this kind of vision or inspiration inside of myself and other artists as well that we've all worked together with. And there's no question she had a huge part of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if we never hear a word from her, thank you anyways.
Of course, you need to be, you know, respectful.
Yeah.
If I cannot get a hold of her, like have sent email to a lot of people, then, you know, she doesn't want to, you know, her, and she got her private life. Yeah, you mentioned, you guys, the same, are pioneer. You know, you mentioned money. Well, we don't know them for the money. If you're looking for the money, go for another record company. It's not what it's about. You know, when Steve Jobs was a very crazy guy, also was a pioneer, right? Yeah, he make a lot of money. He became successful in the AI society, make a lot of money, but it wasn't the thing. You know, Elon Musk the same. You know, no, forget about the oil. We need to do, you know, electric car. Nobody give it the time of the day, or SpaceX, and look at what he is, man. You need to be in life, whatever you do in life, whether you're an engineer or musician, you need to follow your gut, and then believe in yourself, and then go for it. You know, it's foolish that many people live somebody else's life, or they're not happy. You know, for me, it was very clear. I one day I want to be 85. I want to die that day, and I want to say, man, when I look back in my life, man, I saw thousands of concerts. I talked to all these musicians. You know, I got a beer with Eric Clapton when he was 80 in London, or whatever happened to be. The radios were successful. I didn't make any money. That's okay. The interviews are there. I have 1,000 or whatever, or I'm able to travel with some people to see their concert from behind the scenes. I want to see how a concert is put together. So I'm going to be traveling a couple of days with a couple of musicians to see how it's like. And that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And as again, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I believe in what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing, and if I can make some people happy, and that's what somebody paid me off. In the example I interview right now, in a couple of weeks, I interview is going to be seen by 5,000 people or whatever it happens to be a number. I'm very happy that I make some people happy. That's not for me. It just happens to be the first, but hey, could have been anybody else.
Mhm.
So, and, well, I'm very. It was very nice talking to you guys. I mean, I'm happy that you guys are doing the right thing, and when you believe in yourself, you believe in the process, the stuff eventually pays off, right? Monetarily, people, the record label, being associated with Sport and Peccary is known, right?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I definitely share with a lot of artists, there's a notion that if you sell so many CDs or you have this many people hear your music on a live stream, that you're successful.
Yeah.
And so success is somehow it is measured by numbers or dollars.
Yeah.
And I think, Deborah can agree with me on this, or, has, certainly you have a different perspective on it. But I mean, one of the absolute truths that we live by is you are successful when you believe in yourself and you just do this music. You do this thing that you do. It doesn't have to be music. It could be any kind of the arts. And
Yeah.
arts, what does that mean? You're, as an electrical engineer, you're an artist.
Yeah.
You draw on that same sort of intuition and approach and talent and everything else, but how each person comes to that and they believe in themselves and they do this thing, they're already successful.
Absolutely.
The other things, yes, they're important for commerce. They're important for living. They're important as the things that we all share. But the measure of success is how you feel inside, at the end of it, in the inside growth that happens from the process. So that's the most important thing, and we don't really try to evaluate it in any other way.
I agree with what Howard just said, because as an artist creates a project and has the music ready and then we put it out, I try to, and I know Howard does too, when we are talking with them or exploring with them or helping facilitate that for them so that they can realize their vision, what is the driving force behind that for them? And the passion and what's created from that. Individuals who hear music, not just our music, but any music on the planet, somebody in one single moment can have a profound experience for whatever reason in space and time. For me, I'm going to share this because it was so overwhelming. Gustav Holst's The Planets. Okay. I was sitting doing something, I can't even remember, but it was a very difficult thing I was trying to do paperwork wise. And the music was playing in the back, and all of a sudden this song came on, Mars. And I had to stop what I was doing, and I was hypnotized by it. And it took me to this whole other dimension. And the effect was so overwhelming. Then I finished what I was doing afterwards, and I just went right through it like that. And I'm like, what just happened there? So I went back and listened to the whole thing again. But that was a profound experience. I've had that several times throughout many years, listening to a piece of music. If you're not thinking in here, it just permeates you and you become that piece of music for a short period of time. And I'm hoping that whoever listens to music can have that effect or be affected by that music in such a way as it gives them that profound sense of being in that moment at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we live in crazy times now with rolling in Ukraine. Man, if I were up to me, I will give Putin your music to listen to stuff, so he will change his mind. This guy is crazy. I mean, there's music in many ways. I don't know. Maybe can change the world. For me, it's magic. I put my headphone, I drink a beer or two, and it takes me places. I don't know. Everybody asks me the same question. I don't know. I cannot explain it. It's something inside myself changes. Like the Wendy Carlos album, right? Or the Klaus Schulze album, or another, I believe, album, E2, E4 for Manuel Goshin in Germany, in Berlin. It takes me places. I don't know why it's the process or why it does, but has given me music in many ways. Has given me so much satisfaction, and I do what I do because I like it, and I wake up every morning. And in my example, if Wendy Carlos said, "Okay, I can see you in a coffee shop tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the morning," you bet your life, and I'm going to be driving to New York. She's in New York at 3 o'clock in the morning to talk to whatever, because that would be the right thing to do for me. I will be sleepy, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Okay, it was very, very nice talking to you. Good luck to you. You guys are doing a great thing, and I've been able to listen to several of the artists that you're working with and under your record label, and keep up the good work, and keep up the magic.
Thank you for this opportunity. It was
no, the other way around. The other way around.
Thanks, Claudio.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you. Appreciate it.